What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sass Cast. We are finally doing our Game of the Year discussion on literally the last day we could possibly do it. Um, yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of discussion between those three people because the shitty year for games, in my opinion. Nothing good came out. I'm kidding. I got a
And
couple
what
of
you
good
know
games
about-
I'll throw out there. It's
What
going
you
to
need
be
to know about
interesting.
Gage is he's just got shit opinions on everything, to be
It's
fair.
very true. It's very true.
True.
Very true.
True.
Very true.
True.
How much you guys want to bet they shut off my internet halfway through the show?
It'll be great. It'll be great content. It'll be great
Yeah,
content.
It would be great content.
You might have an hour because it's gonna be noon in an hour. So I don't know what time they shut off the internet, but it might be at noon.
They better not shut it off at all. I swear to God. Okay, so I literally, before we started recording, I get an email saying, oh, we can't process your payment info because I never updated my card. So I call, and she's like, great. It'll go through, and you'll start doing automatic payments next month. Bye. Shit, what about this month? So,
Well, to be here,
We'll
it
see how
is
that goes.
next month tomorrow.
yeah, but it's always like the fucking...
Yeah,
I mean,
this
it's
was
got you there,
technically
to be fair.
January's payment, so it'd be all for January, and then February they'll take out the payment. It's stupid. It's stupid. If FedEx doesn't arrive with my package, I'm gonna stop recording. Okay, just putting it out there.
Well, why don't you just leave the door open and you go get your package and we can still talk and you'll be recording.
Mm-hmm. you do a live unboxing.
You guys ever have this issue?
Content.
They literally. So he called me, left a
I've had
voicemail
it a few times.
because
No.
he wants me to drive up onto the main road to meet him to pick up the package. This has happened
In
before
Sweden,
because there's like a quarter
every
inch of
household's
snow
got
and
a
they're
post office.
fucking wussies.
What's that, Camille?
I was just saying, Sweden, like every household's got their own post office.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's works smoothly. You guys
Direct
bet.
link to the king.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Talking of kings, let's introduce our cast for today. So
I was
we already
just
know
about to get to
GF's
that.
Cool. Gage.
Yeah, I'm here. I'll be your, I don't know, host is kind of a shitty word. All I do is enter the show and then I let everybody else take over. It's
the
true.
producer, the simplest way.
Sure, producer. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
basically.
producer Gage.
Over there, we've got Camille. Down there, we've got Robin. And then over there, we've got Caesar.
I
So,
choose you, Pikachu tie. Okay.
thank you for
Happy New
watching.
Year,
Goodbye.
everybody.
Yeah. I was
Just
actually
end
wearing
it
like a
there.
yellow shirt, and I was going to be like yellow. I mean, hello, get it because of my yellow shirt, but because I had to change into the suit because of Robin, I didn't get to.
I
do
will
it.
leave this fucking Come camera
Oh,
right
it's-
now. Come It's New Year's Eve.
I had
You
it
and me
planned.
both. You and me both, Caesar.
It's New Year's Eve and Game of the Year. You have to wear a suit.
I have to.
And then there's Caesar and Gage that just I have a winter coat. Can't be
Oh,
Okay, bothered. it's
Caesar's got like a note to be like, I have to be excused from wearing a suit. Medically, I'm just not allowed. And Gage was just like,
also I was
Wear whatever the
informed
fuck I
calling
want,
it
bitch.
5 minutes before we started recording
yeah,
that
to
we
be
were
fair,
gonna be doing this.
don't tell the people how we work. It's not going to reflect goodly on us.
they know.
So,
So game of the year,
discussion.
guys. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Wait, before we get into that, I want to talk about something.
Go
Oh.
for it.
Here we are.
I swear to God, if it's something
No,
about
it's-
near, I'm gonna be so upset.
No. You know, it takes a lot of courage to stand up against your friends when you have a bad opinion about something.
Gage
But it takes
knows.
even more courage to admit when you've been wrong about something. So, Gage, I'd like to apologize. Blade Runner 2049 is a good movie.
What?
You win.
What? Oh
You win,
my
dude.
god! I can't believe you've got that on camera as well. Holy shit!
I can't Like, yeah, back that's out. No. recorded.
Fuck this
That's recorded.
podcast. We're
That's out
done.
there.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear.
Clip that out.
That's
I
amazing.
drank a lot of coffee and then I watched it and managed to stay awake the entire time this time. New year, new
Very good.
Robin.
I love it.
New year, new Robin.
That's
huh?
amazing.
Yeah.
He's just gonna come back next year with another shit opinion on the movies and do the exact same thing on next year's Game of the
No,
Year
next
discussion.
year it'll be him apologizing for Dragon's Dogma. He'll finally get around to playing that more and be
Nah,
like,
nah.
"You were right." I'm like, yeah, I know I was right, Robin. I'm always right. Y'all just,
And
y'all
talking
just
about
don't want to
Gage's
accept
number
it.
one game of the year, it's Dragon's Dogma.
Yep. I was very tempted to put it on my list 5 times just to do it. But I was like, no,
Just
there
for the
was some
meme.
decent games this year, so I guess I got to give him some credit.
There were some great games this year.
Was there?
He's not
though?
going to budge from decent.
Was there though?
He's not going to budge from distance. There was something for everybody, is what I'm going to say. And if
Was
you're like
there,
Gage
though?
that only wants something in the Dragon's Dogma category, then it's a bad year in
The
games.
only
for you,
game I would
unfortunately.
agree with anybody on that deserves Game of the Year is a game I didn't even play, and that's Animal Crossing, just because it actually took over the world by storm. Everything else, it was like hit or miss. It's like you either love it or you hate it. And even a lot of the games I have in here that I like have so many issues. So none of them.
I know Camille's top 3.
None of them. Yeah,
I don't know what your top 5 would be, Robin or Gage. So this is gonna be really interesting for me.
So
I have no idea what your list could be.
Before we get there, what I thought we were going to do is top 5 games that came out this year. But actually, there's a lot of like stuff that we've been able to get through in our backlogs as well, considering that all we did this year is stay indoors. So I guess we should probably include them in Game of the Year
just gonna
discussion
keep
anyway.
overcomplicating things, aren't you, Camille?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? If you have some that you played this year, that
Dragon's Dogma. I got the platinum this year, so there we go. Game of the Year.
Yeah, there you go. One of your games of the year.
Spoilers.
You're wrong, but yeah. So I guess before
What
we go
are you
into
gonna
our
pick?
list,
Fucking
does anyone
Pokemon Rainbow Dash or whatever the fuck they're on now?
That's a great title. They need to use that. Holy
That's
shit!
a My Little Pony character.
I know.
Pokemon Rainbow
I
Dash
know.
is like Gen 1, Gen
It
2, Gen
fits.
3, Gen 4, Gen 5, like all in one. Oh my god, it'd be so good. But anyway, what are some people's honorable mentions for this year that didn't make their lists?
So of this year or that we just played?
They didn't get around to playing, or you played but didn't play enough to.
But like came out this year, right? Am I
But-
clear
but-
on that, or are we doing
Yeah,
anything?
Games
Come on.
that you just played this
Okay.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for honorable mentions, games that came out this year specifically.
All right.
For me, Fall Guys. I had to throw Fall Guys in there. Great game to have fun with your friends. I just not there. It's just not like game of the year for me. But it's a lot of fun to jump in for a few rounds.
It's one of
Have a
those
few
things that
laughs.
captivated everybody for like a month during the summer,
Yeah.
and then just
And what a
dropped
month
off,
it
really.
was.
Yeah, it was a fun month. Like
It was a good month.
It's still got a committed fan base. I still jump in every now and then, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely one of those things that kind of fell off after a few weeks.
I'd
yeah.
like finish work every day, and specifically with Vitz and Rahul, we would just like log in for like an hour and just play some Fall Guys. And season
remember
2
that,
came
yeah.
out, and it was like we played maybe like 3 or 4 days, and then other stuff came out, and we just got distracted, and that was the end of Fall Guys for me. Yeah, that's a solid shout. What
Yeah, that's
about-
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Coming
also-
in high.
Sorry, what?
What? No.
No, I was saying, do you
Uh,
have any honorable mentions?
Oh, me? Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a lot.
I did say Robin.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
This is gonna be a great episode.
Strap in. Ratchet and Clank 2016.
Oh fuck!
Played that earlier this year and really liked it. Was the first Ratchet and Clank I ever played, so it was fun.
Nice.
Nice short experience so you can knock out in a couple of days. So enjoy that. I'm really excited for the next one.
Gage, how about you?
Dragon's Dogma.
Well, obviously, I don't know. I can't really think of anything. So if we're talking like honorable mentions that came out this year, I'd probably throw a bone to Resident Evil 3. I think it's obviously not great, especially after the streak they were on with the 7 and 2 remake.
2.
But for what it was still, well, for what it was disappointing because it was like they had to bundle in Resistance to justify a $60 value because that game on its own is not worth $60. Neither of them are. But they're both solid games. You know, for the 4 hours that Resident Evil 3 is
both
there,
enjoyable.
it's pretty fun. I've played through it
That was
four
Phil's
times.
runner-up for Game of the Year as well. He really loved that game.
It was fun. I went back to Resident Evil 2 after that, and it's so much better. Even like there's certain gameplay mechanics that they took out for 3, like the fact you have to equip everything you use, like grenades, knives, stuff like that. Whereas in 2 remake, it was attached to like a secondary button, so you could aim your gun, but then also pull out your knife if you had to, or throw a grenade instead of having to actually hotkey everything. Just weird changes like that. But overall, it was still a fun game. It's more Resident Evil, and Resistance was short-lived. A lot of potential. They basically murdered it as quickly as they could, though, by not supporting it properly.
Well, that's the thing. I have not heard anyone mention Resident Evil 3 past the beginning of this year. It's literally just
because because that's what it is.
happening.
It's short. It's not very memorable because it's not even the full Resident Evil 3 game remade. It's like 70% of it. And you beat it in 3 hours. Yeah, it's fun for a week or so, and then you're kind of over it. But
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to.
it was fun though. I
Resident
did
Evil
enjoy.
Hank. That's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, Resident Evil Hank. I can't wait.
Let's go.
What a
I'm
fucking
gonna
great
just
name.
list off a whole of like honorable mentions that I played this year but didn't make my list for whatever reason. And it's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Didn't play enough of it. Persona 4 Golden. I played back in the day. My favorite game of all time. Well, one of my favorite games of all time. But that came out for PC, so people need to buy that. Hades. I didn't play too much of. I really liked the gameplay loop.
You need to
Robin,
play
I'm
that
gonna
too.
give it the time it deserves. Just let
Yeah.
me finish Near. Okay, let me finish Near.
All right.
You never
Astro's
really
Playroom.
finished near.
That was a really fantastic experience. And lastly, on my honorable mentions list is Demon Souls.
That's on mine as well.
Oh, and the Pathless, Miles Morales, and Last of Us Part 2. But
Oh yeah, Demon Souls, so much fun. I'm so glad I got to play it.
Another game that you brought up in honorable mentions on my episode was Among Us. I think that's another game.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a
I
fun
wish
game to jump
I had
into.
like that
Give a shout to that
group
as well.
like constantly online all the time. Like, but everyone's so busy with their schedules that it's hard to
Yeah.
like get a game together.
So
But
I've
that
never
definitely
played
was
it.
some of my favorite. Yeah,
Same.
some of my favorite experiences.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of like,
Robin, you had so many
Mind-
opportunities to join. You
mind
motherfucker.
tricks,
You
yeah.
always ditched us.
dude. I played with
What are you doing
Matt
after
like
this?
I played with Matt like 4 times. That guy is too good at that fucking game, and he hasn't even played that
Fergie.
much of it. Matt Ferguson, yeah.
Matt's
Yeah.
a filthy fucking liar. He's
That's
just really good
Like,
at it.
I to the
He's
kids all
just
the
good at
time.
fucking liar.
Like, yeah, Santa's real. Santa's real, kids. Like,
Exactly. Wait, what?
Years of practice. Anyways,
I must say Ben's the easiest to like. You can tell when Ben's lying straight away because like, dude, it's not. He's just bad at lying.
the first few rounds I
is.
played with Ben, which were like his first few rounds playing the game, he would always, if he was imposter, he would always be like, I was by Medbay. And it's like every time he's like, I don't know what the game is. I don't know where everything is.
And then like, if you accuse him of anything, he'll straight target like, oh, okay, I'm voting for this guy then because they're targeting me. That's the best defense he has.
But yeah, shout out to Among Us. Lots of fun.
I mean,
Shout out to
anyone else?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Ooh, okay. So why the shout out and not make your list?
I mean, I liked it, but
Mm.
comparing it to the other 5, it's just not as good. And I have no nostalgia for the game either. So
The other
the
one?
one I played, I liked. And
Oh,
I,
the other one. Sorry.
Literally, nostalgia is
other
the
finals.
only thing that saves it for that game, in my opinion.
yeah, and I
Because
have none for
None
Final
of the big
Fantasy VII.
moments in that game would matter if you didn't love Final Fantasy VII.
I don't know about that.
It would be
to
like,
honest.
oh, this is cool. I've known this character for 2 hours. Whereas there's certain events that if you love the game, it's like, oh shit, this has been 20 years in the making. So there's definitely a gap there between, because like the game itself, fine, but the fact that it's those characters that I've loved since I first played the game, fucking I don't know, 15 years ago or whatever.
Hmm.
Shit, it would have been like 20 years ago at this point, actually.
When you were 1?
I'm 25, asshole.
Any more?
I only
honorable
look like
mentions?
I'm 12, okay?
Persona 5 Royal.
Ooh.
And I haven't played it, but I love
Oh,
Persona 5. So I think I'm going to love this one. But I want to give a shout out to.
Fair enough. I appreciate the shout
I
out.
get
There's always
it.
next year. There's always next
Yeah.
year, Robin.
There's never next year with Robin. I know Robin.
There's like the next
Um,
5 years, so finally
What's
do
that
it.
mean?
Got anything else, or
Honorable
should we
mentions.
move
I'm
to the
good.
top 5?
I'm good with my honorable mentions too.
Yeah, we're
Cool.
good.
So let's start with our top 5s, and I'll start with Robin. Robin, what is your 5th game of the year for this year?
My 5th game of the year. Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Mm,
What a fun
What?
little game.
yeah.
I like.
Oh, I know, right? It's so good.
Yeah, you love it. Right?
Okay, for context, Gage hasn't played it because he hasn't got his PS5 yet.
It's on the way,
Oh,
though.
man.
It's on the
Gage,
way.
Yeah.
It's on its way.
I don't have a PS5 either, so
Loser.
wow.
We're gonna
Now
love
he
it,
knows how
Gage.
to feel.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play it.
It's like Spider-Man PS4, but shorter and more like compact and better.
Well,
I'm down for that
the
because that
UI
was my
Yeah.
complaint with
It's
PS4. It was
fantastic.
so
It
fucking
looks
long.
so much cleaner than like Spider-Man remastered.
I do have one question
um,
about that game. Are you able to do all the missions back to back, or do they do the bullshit padding like Spider-Man PS4, where it's like, oh, glad I did that. I gotta go on patrol now.
It has a
There-
bit of padding.
Yeah, a
little bit?
little bit,
Mm.
but it's nothing terrible. Like
No.
you
Okay.
can literally just do like a crime where you can actually like spawn the crime as well. You don't even have to wait for it. You can spawn the crime,
Nice.
do a crime, and then it'll let you go into the story. So
Cool. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
dreadful.
I think the other thing I like about Spider-Man Miles Morales is like, you know, when you're just swinging it and you've got the dope
Yeah.
beats in the background, you know, it's just the music's so good. Music's so good.
Dope beats.
I like
Miles Morales is way better than Peter Parker as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say Miles as a character is really endearing and charming, and
Yeah. I like
I
the
wanna
story
see more of
more
his
in this
story,
game
yeah.
than the original.
like the game doesn't like push the boat or anything, but it's just an all-round great experience.
Yeah.
Like it's a
That's
video
a phrase
game.
I've never heard before.
Push
What?
the
Push the-
boat.
Push the
Welcome
boat.
to Europe.
Is that a British thing? Is it or a European thing?
It's just a you thing, Camille.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. It's just a me thing. Yeah.
Push
I think
the
it's something you
boat.
made up right now.
I mean, yeah, I like
Speaking of
Miles
boats-
Morales was like my fifth best game of the year until Caesar had reminded me about Animal Crossing. I was like, oh fuck, how could I forget Animal Crossing? Like, yeah, have you got any comments about Miles at the moment?
Not really. I like that's shorter and not. It doesn't take like 2 weeks to beat.
Yeah, video games
You
these
can-
days are just
yeah,
so long.
you can knock
And
it out in a
sometimes it's
weekend or
just
something.
padding. It's just padding
Yeah.
for no reason. You don't need to be that long. You've just chosen to be that long.
Yeah,
Speaking
we'll
of
get into
boats-
that with another game. Guarantee you.
Speaking of boats, are there PS2
no.
Are there PS2 characters on the boats in Miles Morales?
I haven't played it, but I know for a fact there are.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there
Oh,
were
no,
on the PS4
There's not
version.
because there's no boats in Miles Morales. It's Spider-Man PS4
really?
that still has them. And
Ah,
they
okay.
Miles Morales boats as well.
really,
But I didn't see any PS2 characters. That's for sure.
yeah. If you like swim out to the
If you go
boats
to
and
the
look
boats
at
at
the
the
people on the
water,
boats,
yeah.
they're super low poly count.
Mm.
It's hilarious.
Is it like those characters that you can unlock in fighting games, but you haven't like got the image yet? So it's
It-
just like
a little bit.
It's like the NPCs in like the Spider-Man PS2 game.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
great.
they look like.
It's great.
Right.
Caesar, what is your fifth game of the year?
My fifth game of the year, and this is rough because I didn't play many games that came out this year. So to try to reach into my mind of like games that I played this year, I would probably have to go with similar vein, Spider-Man PS4,
Hmm.
because
Nice.
I had never. Oh shit! Sorry, I had never. I had never played that game
Just
before.
die midstream. It's like, oh shit. Okay, well that's the podcast.
I had never played that game before. I'd always wanted to play it. And this is at a time where I didn't know the PS5 was coming out this year. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just get a PS4 and I'll get Spider-Man. And that was the first game I played on my PS4, and that's the first game that I platinumed. Because like God,
damn.
I loved
Wow.
swinging through the city so much. It just
That platinum was a
The-
bitch.
oh, it was a bitch, but
Was
I
it?
was able to finish that game in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
I
Damn,
100% of that game. Yeah.
Took me forever because I got
I-
so bored when I finished the game. I'm like, I don't want to do every crime in every district and all the token
Especially when you have to
challenges.
keep swinging for its fucking spawn.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
That's what I like about Miles
thing
Morales.
was,
Mm.
They have all that crime in an app you can choose to do them.
yeah,
mechanics.
there's a lot of like downtime in Spider-Man PS4.
Like you
so
just text
hearing
them
that
back,
there's
crime, so I can get this trophy, please. Just-
yeah, hearing that there's a lot less downtime in Spider-Man Miles Morales makes me happy.
Mm.
Yeah, that's cool.
But for Spider-Man PS4, that game just came out, or that came out 2 years ago. But for me, I played it at a time where I needed it because I was going through a really tough time, and this game just took me out of that, and I was in that world, and I only cared about that world, and I was just invested in that world, and I was just like, I will swing all day and all night fighting crimes, doing everything, and I had a blast doing it.
I think one of the most impressive things about Spider-Man PS4 is literally like when you're swinging, Yuri's got one voice, and then when you're stationary, he's got another voice. So you can
Yeah.
be talking to someone and start swinging, and like, his voice changes. It's just fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
What a game!
It's a
What a
good
fucking
game.
game.
It's really good.
Gagey, what's your number 5 for this year?
Fuck. So I only have 4 on my list, but since we're at number 5, I will say honestly,
Soul Squadrons.
I have 4 on my list. Like only 2 of them I actually mean.
So
The
I
other
can-
2 are like
I
secondhand
can skip
picks.
it if you want.
Just make one up.
I would have to say number 5. I'd have to give a bone to Cyberpunk if you're playing out anything except for console.
Yeah,
Because
if you're not playing it on
I'm
PS4.
Still waiting for my refund. I have literally submitted a request 5 times over the past 2 weeks. Have not heard a single thing back, and I have not played it since I submitted the first request. So I would like my money back because I will buy it in the future when it fucking works. But there is something very special there that I'm sure once it's actually playable, it doesn't break all the time, doesn't run like garbage. I can see how that could be like one of my favorite games, period. Like very much like a No Man's Sky situation of a game that was not great at launch, but becomes honestly one of the coolest games of the generation. So I have faith that that will happen. It's just right now it is a shit show. So
I love how you convinced Robin to get it.
There's footage of me buying that game.
I know it's like on the fucking podcast, dude. So like no joke, it was the first like 2 hours of the game are totally fine. You get some frame rate issues every once in a while, a couple glitches, whatever. But for the most part, I'm like, oh, this game is surprisingly good. But then you start getting to areas that are a bit more demanding, that have more pedestrians, more cars. You start getting into gunfights in larger areas with more enemies. Like the game gradually starts stacking assets in front of you the further you get, and performance just starts to drop dramatically. So it was like I was getting decent frame rate, not very many bugs for the first 2 or 3 hours. I had like 1 or 2 crashes, but for the most part, I'm like, this is a lot of fun. But then some point, 4 or 5 hours in, it just took a shit. Where like menus were getting stuck. The last time I played it, this is when I deleted it. I literally opened up the game because they had finally put out the patch that it wasn't going to reset your visual settings. Every time I booted up the game, I'd have to re-enable HDR, turn off film grain, turn off motion blur. I'd have to do all that every single time because it would not save it. They finally fixed that. So I load into the game. I'm like, oh shit, HDR's not on. I go into options. I enable HDR. I turn off all the extra features and I press circle. Nothing happens. Like, why am I still in the menu? I press circle again, nothing happens. I press the options button, nothing happens. I'm literally stuck in the options menu. So I closed the game and I deleted it. Like, that's the type of shit that started happening. Like UI elements where you get stuck on screen. I even glitched out once. I had 0 health. And like a cutscene triggered or something when I had 1 health. When I come out of it, I have 0 health. So now I'm running around the map, invulnerable. I cannot take damage. I start killing people. I'm like, this is great, until I realize I can't interact with anything. So I'm invulnerable, can kill all these bad guys, but I can't loot them. I can't drive my car. I can't use my phone. Nothing. And I'm like, this game is a fucking train wreck. I have not played a game that's broken ever. I don't think I've ever played a game this broken in my entire life, of a fully released game. Not even early access. This is a full release game. What the hell?
Would you rather
It's probably going to be really good though in 5 months,
but not
just
be able
saying.
to touch anyone? Or would you rather be able to touch everyone but not be invulnerable
I mean,
in real life?
we're already not invulnerable, so
What?
Shitty
No,
question,
what are you
Camille.
fucking
Oh, this
smoking?
is such a
Hello?
good question.
so
I
either
like
live
how
forever and be miserable, or be a normal
I'll
human
be
being.
invulnerable, not invincible.
Robin, what were you gonna say?
Skyrim was pretty broken too.
It was
No,
only broken
Skyrim's
on PS3, but not to that
Yeah, and
extent.
that's all I had.
Not to like
okay.
Skyrim, yeah, not great
It
on
was
PS3.
bad.
There was frame rate issues. They didn't fix it for a long time, but this is so much worse. At least I could
I played
play
on PC.
Skyrim. You know, it took forever because it kept fucking crashing. But like, dude, I never got stuck in a fucking menu in Skyrim. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. What a disappointment.
I can't wait to play Cyberpunk next year, and it's gonna be my game of the year for next year.
Dude, same.
Calling it
I
now.
guarantee you, it's gonna be awesome.
Play
I
it-
still haven't started.
Once that
Played in
It's just
December,
installed
yeah.
on my PS5.
yeah, once the PS5 port finally comes out, it'd be amazing.
Remember when Cyberpunk was supposed to come out in April?
Dude, can you
Yeah.
imagine?
I wonder if it will be ready in
And they
April
were just
next
pushing
year.
bugs. Apparently, that's why they delayed it. They were just pushing bugs.
Yeah.
They even delayed it
No,
an extra
they,
like month too. It was supposed to come out
Yeah.
like early November, and they pushed it.
Yeah.
It went gold. Can you believe it went gold?
There's
That's-
I can't believe that game in any state was considered gold. Like the game literally doesn't work. It's not like, oh, it's poorly optimized on consoles. It's like, no, even people on PC literally can't play the fucking game half the time because shit's popping in, shit's crashing. Like, that game is not finished. That is not a gold game. You cannot release version 1.0 if your game is literally still pre-alpha.
Do you want to
Woohoo.
rename this episode to why we don't like CD Projekt Red?
Love CD Projekt Red. Love the people who worked on the game, but fuck the executives and the shareholders that made all those
This
calls.
game.
The ones
I'll
who
tell you who I won't fuck, and that's the creators of Animal Crossing. Because what the hell, that was what that's my number
Fuck
5.
you!
game
I'd
of the
fuck
year.
them any day of the week, but that's
Yeah.
a different conversation. I'll talk about that later.
Different kind of fucking Caesar. But yeah, that's my number 5, and just because it got me into a routine at the start of lockdown, it really helped with that. Kept me sane. Being able to talk to all these animal villagers that became my friends. I actually met some really cool people because of Animal Crossing. People like
That's so
Largent.
sad.
Um,
I'm sorry.
people like
The
shout
Largent,
Zuckers.
the
Zuckers
Largent
my
thing,
friend.
not the Animal Crossing thing.
So yeah, no, he gave me a KFF shirt, and I've never took it off. It's wonderful.
Nice.
But yeah, it was just a fun time. Gave me
In
a
real
routine,
life or in the game?
kept me engaged in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Just
he's got
make
my
sure.
You can give him my address if you want. He can send me one in real life. But yeah, that was my 5th game of the year because
Nice.
just was part of my
Nice.
daily routine, and it was fun. Number 4, Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little game called The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, hello.
This is my
Here
number
we are.
4.
Gag.
Here we are.
This game made me hate video games for an entire summer. And
I
I
remember.
love the
remember.
game,
Exactly.
but I don't know why. I didn't want to finish this game.
My list of complaints of that game just keeps growing every day I think about it. You want to know why?
Yeah.
That game
Yeah.
would have been a great part 3, but instead they decided, hey, we're going to make this a part 2 story. It's like, okay, that's
Well, we're
interesting.
not going to go into spoilers, are we, Gage?
No spoilers.
No, I'm not going to. If you guys wanted to, we could. I can avoid. Okay. The game is poorly. Aside from the 2 story things I'm not going to talk about because they're very spoiler heavy, that I have massive issues with the writing that could have easily been fixed and I would have been fine with it.
I know exactly what you're talking about too.
The game
Yeah.
is one of the most poorly paced and edited games I've ever played, where they consistently jerk you back and forth between, again, without it getting too spoilery, this and this, like constantly. You play for 3 hours and then it's like, oh, now we're going to change everything. And then they go back and forth, constantly jumping back and forth between, areas and gameplay and whatever, to the point where it's like, oh, I finally found a cool gun. And then it's like, psych, you can't use it for 2 hours until you finally play another part of the game. And then it jumps you back to this point. It's like, why put it like that? Like, it's cool having a game that has, flashbacks or flash forwards or whatever. But when your entire game is consistently jumping back and forth between places and times, it just feels jarring to the point where I finished the game and I'm like, I didn't really feel a connection with these characters most of the time. Like, there was moments where I'm like, oh yeah, this feels like Ellie. This feels like all these characters. But then other times I'm just like, okay, I started to care about a moment right there, but then now I'm off doing something totally different, and it just does not work for me in the slightest, which sucks because I really wanted to like that game, but there are just too many. I feel like Naughty Dog, I know I've said it before. This is the one time I'll actually say it. I think Naughty Dog decided to be really pretentious with this game. I don't think they meant to
Damn.
be,
So-
but I feel like them after Game of the Year, after Game of the Year, after Game of the Year, were like, we're going to do something crazy. What if we do this, this, and this? And rather than actually think things through and go, okay, how do we make it feel cohesive? How do we make sure the players are still relating to each of these characters? They just went, that's a good idea. Do that in the next scene. Without fleshing out why these things were happening when they're happening. If they could recut that game and have more precise chunks of time, it'd be perfectly fine if there was a solid Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, but it feels like you play for an hour and it's like, oh, okay, that was Act 1, and then the next hour goes and it's like, that was a weird ending, like, guess we're into Act 2 now, or Act 3, and then it's like, they keep doing that. By the time I finished it, I felt like that was a 13-act play, and that does not work. You need to have consistency, set up everything, give me the journey, give me the destination. But it felt like, okay, we're setting it up, we're going on the journey, and now we're going back to setting up, and now we're going on another journey, and now we're going back to setting up a different thing, and now we're on another journey. And here's one destination, but now we're going back to this journey again to do this. It was just back and forth and back and forth, and it just.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't know how they could have done it where it would kept the same sort of impact of what happens in that story.
I do, but it's totally unrealistic. It would be make 2 games. Like if like the first 70% of this game, not even that, if the first 2 hours of this game were the ending of The Last of Us Part 2, and there was a bunch of stuff before that, and then the rest of this game was Last of Us Part 3, that could have definitely helped, but it's like it's not really spoiler territory. Everybody knows this is like 5 years after the first game. So there's this giant gap where it's like there's so much that went on in those 5 years that we don't know about. So jumping in, it's like, oh, Ellie's a teenager now, and you get some, backstory, whatever, but it's like she feels like a completely different person, and they don't do enough to make me feel like it's the same character. It just jumps me in, and I'm like, yeah, it's Ashley Johnson. It looks kind of like Ellie, but even with Joel, it's like it just doesn't really feel like the same character because they skipped over so much development and growth. It just.
What you do get it later on, but I can totally understand now why you mean you'd rather have that at the very beginning and get that sort of context.
I do want to give it another shot. Like I hope they do a PS5 patch that enables like 60 frames per second and stuff, because the gameplay was a bit clunky at times, and a lot of that was
for it again as well.
Well, if they make me pay for it, I'm not trying it again. But like if I can play the PS4 version with higher frame rate, so the gameplay feels a bit more modern and smooth, I'll definitely give it another shot. Just see if it clicks. But yeah, it just didn't click for me. That was actually the most professional and like.
There.
Okay.
I thought narratively it was a brilliant game. I really like the narrative of the story.
I agree for the most part.
The thing is, when you play the game, it's about sort of enjoying what you're doing, and like to me, that game was more like I had to go to it and I have to play it rather than I wanted to pick it up and play it, because on the internet everyone's spoiling the story left, right, and center. So I have to. I begrudgingly picked up a controller and had to play that game. And the one thing that really annoys me, and as part of that pacing thing, is like I can't cross a fucking bridge without some rock just falling randomly. Like, why does that rock always have to fall and make me trip up and I have to go around the fucking side passage of this fucking? Or like, I fucking hate it when games do that.
Or like I brought up
when you
with
constantly do it.
Yeah, there's so much padding in the game. I brought it up when we had Ryan on the show. Like segments where you're like in like a neighborhood and you're jumping down through all these houses and stuff in the neighborhood and you're being chased, and it just keeps going, where it's like, okay, am I supposed to stop and fight these people, or do I need to keep running? And it's like, oh, you got to keep running. It's just you jump down one terrace, go through like a ruined house, more enemies come, like, there she is. You jump down another one, you do the same thing, and it just kept going. I'm like, why am I still doing this? Like,
have you ever considered being like a voice actor of like an enemy? Like, oh, there she is.
Hey, if they need another Kylo Ren for the next Battlefront game, hit me up.
What girl?
What girl?
Caesar, did you want to say something?
I was gonna say, so we know why Gage doesn't like the game, but Robin, why is it your 4th game on the list? Because you said it made you hate video games, but why'd you put it on your list then?
I mean, I love the game, but there are parts of that game where you just don't want to keep playing. And I won't spoil anything, but there are parts of that game that are very hard to play, and not in a difficult way, but in a story sense way.
It's draining. It's such a draining game, because I remember when I got my game like 1 week later after everyone else did, because Postman Pat fucked me over. I literally played the first 2 hours of that game, and I'm like, put it down, and I'll play it tomorrow. Like it's very mentally draining as well. But shout out to the performances, shout out to the narrative. They could have done something else with it.
I don't know why they. I understand like their whole thing is like, this is first game is a game about love. This is a game about hate. It's like, cool, I get that. It should be about okay, this character is dealing with this thing. Cool. It shouldn't be about making the players literally hate every single second they're playing the game. I'm sure there's ways they could have done that to make the game still, like, the story can still be heavy and difficult to deal with, but I should want to play that game. I should like the first game's got some heavy moments, but I actually enjoy the gameplay of the first game. It's like, oh, I like just going around these little towns and scavenging and taking out enemies. The second game, the whole time, I'm just like, I'm not having fun, because they're forcing it down my throat that you have to be angry, you have to be sad, you have to be pissed off. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this for 40 hours. And that's how long it took. shit, even a season of
it
Game of
was
Thrones, as heavy as
strangely
it is,
wrong.
It was
isn't
way
40
too long.
hours.
Like, I
Like,
couldn't
oh
believe
my
how long that game was.
God.
I thought I got to the ending,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh
Yeah.
no, that's not
They're
the
like,
ending.
huh, here's
I'm like,
Act 3. I'm like, no, this is Act 12. Fuck you.
That game has 5 endings, dude.
It does.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
literally does. And not in a cool Avengers way. Just in a poorly edited fucking, like, Pulp Fiction way.
Yeah, I still remember Robin. He just couldn't pick up. He couldn't play anything
No.
without. Like,
I still, yeah.
I don't
he
know
was
why, it just
broken.
ruined me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't
Oh,
play
God.
many things after that either because that was a fucking
I'm expecting your number
rough
one game
game.
of the year to be the one that actually brought you back from the rift. But I'm not gonna say anything about it. But
You're
Caesar,
wrong,
what's
Joe.
your
Dragon's Dogma.
Caesar? Shut up, Cage. Caesar, what's your number 4?
Now that I think about it, I feel like number 4 and 5 should be switched.
Oh, shit.
So number
Oh,
4
shit.
should be
Fuck it.
Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Number 5, it's kind of funny like how parallel but not really our lists are, Robin. Because number
Okay.
5 should be for me is Last of Us Part 1 because this year is the first time I played it.
Oh,
And
okay.
Spider-Man 3 hair, by
so I
the way.
might as well just talk about it now. But yeah, a big spoiler for that game is knowing that a second one exists, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
but,
think anyone saw the second one coming until they said we're doing a second one. Everyone's like, "What? Why would you do a second one?"
But yeah, not to get too much into it, it's just a really what you guys talked about. It's great gameplay. It's old gameplay, but it's still
Yeah.
fun.
It still holds up. for the most
Yeah, it
part.
still holds up pretty well. And the story narratively is just really well done.
Mm.
But other than that, I feel like everybody's already talked about The Last of Us Part 1. So
I don't think anyone's gonna
I
argue that's
agree.
one of the best games
Nah.
made. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
that's sort of pick.
but
for
realistically,
4.
this is my number 5. Number
It's
4
another
is
shitty
Spider-Man
opinion. I'm
PS4.
like, fuck Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, Jesus.
I
Gage,
love that
what's your
game.
number
It's so
4
good.
that you actually like?
Wait, Caesar, were you done? I kind of cut you off there. I just want to make sure.
No, that was it. That was it. Yeah, I was done.
Okay.
Because like I really have nothing else to add to this conversation aside from it's a great game.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
cool.
there's like nothing anyone could say that no one already knows about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where we kind of get into the more messy territory because there's
Ooh.
4 games on my list and I've only
Excellent.
finished one of them. I'm gonna give number 4 to Crash Bandicoot 4.
Fucking hell.
Mhm.
Oh my god. That
I have
game.
approximately played one level, but so far it's really good.
It's about enjoyment. That's what
I've
my
heard,
game of the year
I've
list
heard
is
it's
about.
I've heard it's an incredible game, and just from playing the first level, because I'm trying to get through other games right now too. I'll eventually get back to it and finish it. I bought it for my mom for Christmas, so I can't play it all the time. It's her game.
Do you hate your mom?
No, I warned her. She loves Crash Bandicoot, and I'm like, look, this game is really hard, but it's more Crash.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like it's actually a proper sequel, like it's actually Crash 4, just like if this would have come out 20 years ago, if Naughty Dog would have made it, like it's the perfect.
It's not Crash Bandicoot like nuts
Yeah,
and bolts or
it's not-
whatever
yeah,
the
dude,
fucking was. Yeah.
Crash of the Titans or
Yeah.
whatever the hell.
Nintendo DS or whatever. Yeah.
I want that.
That's the
now.
best
Any of
fun
those-
ever.
those-
I love that.
other trash games. Like this is actually a really
Crash of
good,
Clans.
a genuine sequel, and it holds up. It feels like Crash, just a bit more modern, and that's really cool. So yeah, I'll make that my number 4. Crash 4 is number 4.
I'd like to talk about Crash 4 because that game, like you said, it feels very authentic. There's so many great character moments. Like you get to see all these characters you used to know. You get to actually like talk to them. You get to know them a bit better. You get to play as them, which is really surprising. But that game is fucking hard. I distinctly remember the last 2 levels. I died maybe over 200 times, and literally when I beat the game, my hands were shaking. I was just like, "Fucking!"
That's-
It's so difficult.
It's cool
unreal.
because
Oh,
there's
God.
a mode in there when you first play the game. It's like you can play like the modern mode, which means you can die infinite times and you just restart at the last
Yeah.
checkpoint. There's never a game over, which is awesome. But yeah, I think Crash 4 is great because it feels like the Crash that we would play as grown-ups. Like it felt like it grew up with us, where it's the same type of gameplay, but it's more difficult and more complex because it's made for the people that played the originals, 20 years ago. It's not just, hey, we're making another game for kids. It's, hey, you already played these games 2 decades ago. You have some experience. Here's the next level type of thing. So yeah.
I've got a couple of criticisms for it. The first one is my own criticism, which is the individual levels in Crash 4 are just too fucking long. Like they shouldn't be as long as they are when you get through them, and I think you'll find that when you get through the
even
game.
in the first level, I felt like it was 3 levels put into one. I'm like, why is this changing so
it
dramatically? But it's cool.
It feels just unnecessarily long. The other thing is, and this is not for me a criticism for me, but it's for Rahul and Lucy, who you can find on Twitter and YouTube. But Rahul was a big fan of Crash, and he like platinum Crash 1, Crash 2, and Crash 3 in the lead up to Crash 4.
Nice.
And he was sort of saying that to me, I couldn't tell the difference between playing the 2 games, but like it controlled fantastically. But for him, it felt a bit jarring coming into Crash 4 because, like you said, the controls are a bit more modern now. So yeah, he just couldn't get used to it. So like, if you've just come off like 1, 2, and 3, you're gonna find it maybe a bit hard to adjust to Crash 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is ridiculously difficult. And if you're trying to get a platinum for it, fucking good luck, dude, because that trophy list is from hell.
Yeah, it doesn't look easy.
Yeah. My 4th game of the year, which is Matt Ferguson's #1 game of the year, is a little game called I was going to say Fast and Furious 7. Sorry, no. I meant Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And I guess it's my game of the year because fun gameplay. The music, I think, is stellar. It's great.
It's great. It's great. They do have an orchestral arrangement of some of them on.
I listened to it as well. I think they made the right decision of just keeping what they have in the game there and keeping the orchestral.
I agree. I
listened
to the orchestral ones and they kind of sucked because I'm like, you can't play some of these things live because some of these people are out of tempo. Like, what the hell's going on here? You're gonna release this shit?
It's difficult. So
yeah,
I guess one of my favorite bits of the game is just like some of the boss fights, especially against the Turks in the game. It's just it's just so epic. It's just so epic. So I guess I just want to give Final Fantasy 7 my 4th game of the year shout because I just really enjoyed it. And like you said, Gage, there is like the way people had, because I didn't play it straight away. I was playing Persona 5 Royal at that time, but the way people hyped up, being like, "This is the best looking game of all time," this, that, and the other. I was like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. The character models are great, but I've seen lots of video games have the same sort of
everything else looks early gen. They don't look bad, but like there's
I don't necessarily agree in graphics wise, but like
style,
it doesn't really need it.
I'll give it style. Like it's got a lot of flash stuff like that. Great.
And the gameplay for me was gameplay is king. Always, like in a video game, gameplay is king, and it just had it for me. I really enjoyed it. Although I do think Final Fantasy 15 still got better gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Like
we're not gonna,
I wanted that so bad with 7. I'm like, why? Just give me 15 gameplay. Like, let me explore these areas. But it's like, hey, you're in this semi-open world, and you go to a little hub, and it's like you can walk around and explore. And you try to go down somewhere, and Cloud's like, no, not right now. And he turns around and walks away. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Really? Like, I can still see on the map that it's an accessible area, but you're gonna force me in this tiny little area and I gotta do side quests. Like, oh my god, like please let me explore Midgar. I want to explore Midgar. They talked about that years ago.
Years ago, they were like what you were expecting versus what you got, and maybe that mod experience.
It's kind of like a Cyberpunk thing. Like, straight up what they told us years ago was like, hey, this game is just gonna be the Midgar section of the game. But we're going to expand it and we're going to make more of Midgar explorable than ever. And it's like, you guys added like 6 alleys to Wall Market and that's it. And there's nothing back there except for like, there's a Phoenix down.
The Wall Market being back. There's like, they gave us like a different rendition of it, but I want the actual Wall Market.
Yeah, I was just like, you guys didn't though, because there's like 2 parts where I'm in like a cool part of Midgar. Let's go to Jesse's house. I'm like, this is awesome. Oh, I can only walk down this one street and go into this one house. Why can't I explore? Why can't I explore this massive city? But
well, hopefully with like Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 or whatever.
Don't worry.
Maybe
I'll bring up that game in a bit again.
Robin, do you have any thoughts on Final Fantasy Part 7?
Part 7.
Part 7.
Part 7, Part 2. Part 1.
I talked about it earlier, so I mean, I like the gameplay.
Anything
about Final Fantasy 7 Remake? I haven't played it, but shout out to Ryan Cold Levy. That's all I have to say about it.
Watch that episode.
Great.
Yeah. Gage will obviously put the link in the description.
No, he won't.
No. Robin, what's your 3rd game of the year? Ooh, look at him thinking.
So Ghost of Tsushima.
It made
Three.
it. I can't believe it made it.
This
What?
is a game that came out after Last of Us Part 2 while I was hating games. So I played 2 hours of it back then, and I just didn't like it at all. Then 4 days ago, I started again. And I'm
nice.
just all in, dude. I can't stop playing.
Yes.
Right now, I just can't stop thinking about it. I love everything about the game. Back when I started the first time, I was having some issues. There's no lock on button for the combat. But after having played both,
that issue.
Yeah. So because I was comparing to Sekiro and Nioh 2 and things like that. But after having played Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, which doesn't have a lock-on button, I got used to it. So coming back to it now, it's so good.
You basically
I understand. I understand now why people love Breath of the Wild and was being completely captured in a game and just wanting to explore the world and finding stuff along the horizon. Just like, what is that? And go over there and find something incredible. And it's just, I love this game.
Nice. And I guess I'll talk about it more later, spoilers, but I think one of the best things that game did is technically the way you traverse the map with the wind guiding you. Instead of you having to pull up your map constantly, it's just like the wind just tells you where to go, and you're like, it's just, you can enjoy the world that they've made for you. You can really just explore it, and you don't have to look at ugly UI constantly, which is really good.
And you don't even have to like swipe up to use the wind. Like the little particles in the game just flows in the right direction all the time. So you don't have to.
It's so cool.
It's so good.
Oh dear. Gage, you didn't want to play that game because you thought it was a Souls game.
No, that's not why. The only reason I didn't get that game yet was because it was just the setting. Because I had kept trying Sekiro and just kept getting burned out on that, and then I kept trying to play through Nioh and I got burned out on that because later on in that game it gets like ridiculously hard. And then I tried Nioh 2 a bit. I'm like, I kind of feel like I should play the first one and beat that first, and then I didn't. And then I tried Sekiro some more, and I'm like, if this game would actually hit 60 FPS, maybe I would like it more. But my God, it's such a pain in the ass to play it fucking 42 half the time. So don't worry, Robin. I'm going to give Sekiro another shot when I get my PlayStation 5. Dude, better frame rate, I'm going to give it a shot.
It's the best From Software game.
But Bloodborne all the way, dude. Bloodborne's
I love Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's like the best game.
Sekiro is so much better.
Ever made.
I did meet the drunken guy, Juzo, or whatever the fuck his name is.
He's like the first boss, I think. Or no, he's
go
later
behind
on,
him,
he's like,
you can stab him, you can take out his health bar, and if you try to do the same thing again, he just re-heals. I'm like, oh no, come on.
My biggest problem with Sekiro is that's my problem with Sekiro is like, I remember years ago this was like a really big hot topic in the industry. People were bringing it up. It's like, hey, adding more health does not increase difficulty. Adding movesets and stuff like that. Like, there's a couple bosses that were like, oh, this is kind of cool. You take off one health bar and now they've kind of changed their combat slightly. But then after getting a couple bosses in, I'm like, all you're doing is just, I'll defeat a boss and they've got another health bar, but their combat is rarely changing. Whereas something like Nioh, you have stances where like enemies have different stances. You have your high stance, mid, and low, and you have to constantly adapt. I felt like Sekiro didn't do enough of that. They just focused too much on, hey, you can only regen, this much health and revive yourself once unless you get a kill shot. But this boss has like the dude on the roof whose name I can't remember. You take out both health bars and then he respawns again with more health as like a demon. I'm like, seriously, this isn't fun because I'm doing the same thing, and if I die, I have to restart. Like, change it up a bit more early on. Don't make me fight this one guy for 15 minutes that has 3 total health bars and then change it up. Change it up halfway through. Take out 1 health bar and he totally changes his tactics. Do it again, totally changes, but it's like, I gotta drop this dude 3 health bars and he never changes tactics, and all of a sudden, oh, I got all my health back and now I'm a demon. I was like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm parrying and I'm dodging. That's it. That's all I do in that game. And coming off of Dark Souls or Bloodborne, where it's like, okay, I got dodge, I've got parry, I can block, I can use my gun to parry, I can change weapons. Sekiro's more like, hey.
But you cannot do all that in Sekiro as well. You can use prosthetic arm too.
Dude, the prosthetic arm is fucking trash. It's so bad. So bad. So bad.
If you're playing that game focusing on health, you're playing it wrong.
It's so bad. But I do want to give it another shot. But that's literally why I didn't play Ghost. And then it got to the point where I wanted to play Ghost, but it's like, well, I'm getting a PS5 hopefully soon, and I am. And it's like, I'm not going to play it on PS4. I'm going to wait until it comes to PS5 and has 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
I do
Play
want to
Ghost before Sekiro.
I'll play
everything before Sekiro. That'd be the last game I'd play when I'm fucking 80 years old on my deathbed. Like, one more time for Robin. Oh shit, I died. Oh shit, I'm dying. And that'll be it.
That's why I haven't released Elden Ring, because you're waiting on you to play Sekiro.
They haven't released Elden Ring because Bluepoint made a better game than they ever have.
So we don't have to talk about this fucking game anymore.
So,
dude,
Robin,
if you were making another fucking game and you saw Bluepoint remade one of your games better than you've ever done, of course you're gonna be like, we can't show anything. We gotta restart, guys, because this studio outdid us at our thing. Holy crap!
On our own game, yeah,
dude. Oh my god.
Robin, when you bring up Ghost, do you include the multiplayer game in that, or do you consider that like its own thing?
No, I haven't tried a multiplayer at all. I'm doing a single player, and then if I find someone to play multiplayer with, I'll do that.
Gotta get it. I was just wondering.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll play with you guys too. Just kidding.
No, you won't.
No, you won't. Fuck off.
Y'all
I
want to play
have a
Predator?
suspicion we'll talk about the multiplayer later on.
I can talk about the multiplayer later on.
Sweet.
Caesar, talking about player, what's your number 3 game of the year?
So this is 2 games, but I feel like when you really look at it, it's a game and a tech demo, if we're being honest.
Oh, fuck.
So I'll package these 2 games together. Portal 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I played. These are actually the first games I started streaming this year, and that was a lot of fun to play on stream, especially with like the cake is a lie thing and like figuring that out, like what's going on. And then Portal 2 added so much depth and story into that world. It was just so much fun. What really ticked me off though was like towards the end they added like this goo mechanic, and that was just frustrating to deal with. Like you had to use these gels and put them on walls and like shoot portals on them or whatever. That was just really confusing. And depending on like the angle they were coming down, you had to angle your portal in a certain way. It was weird, but overall it was just a fantastic experience of a game. And
it's one of those games that I hear everyone talk about, and I've watched like a friend play it over at his house, but I've never touched the game myself. Caesar,
you need to play it. Yeah, you need to play it.
Portal's great. Portal 2 is fun and co-op.
It's a spectacular game. Of all the games I have played this year, the first game I'd recommend to anybody to play would be Portal, because it's such a staple in the video game industry, but also it's just such a great game that holds up after all these years. I think it came out 2012, something like that.
Like it would have been
probably, yeah.
But yeah, play Portal and Portal 2. You can play both of those back to back, and they work well together.
Yeah, they're also super cheap too.
As well, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really cheap. I think I got it for like $20 for both of them or something like that, like 15.
Wow. They're always going on sale on Steam, so you can always pick them up there.
Yeah, you could literally finish the first Portal in less than a day, and then jump right into Portal 2. Like that, it's a really short game. So it's
And use the Steam discount code Caesar at checkout.
I wish.
Gage, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is kind of it's a weird one, because I've played a few hours of it, and it's I on its own it's not an amazing game, but just at the time that it came out, it's gotta be my number 3. That's Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh wow!
Did you play it in VR or did you play it outside?
I haven't played it in VR yet. It's weird. So it launched, I believe it was $40 when it launched. So they were already launching it at a lower price. It is essentially literally the same exact ship combat stuff you would get in Battlefront 2. Like there's really nothing different there aside from being able to cycle your power focus, where it's like, I need to focus on shields, maneuverability, or firepower, which you can kind of do in
to it as well. I think.
You can kind of do that in Battlefront, but not to this extent where it's actually button presses and stuff like that. So that's cool. There's ship loadouts, stuff like that. But it's got a decent story. I've only played a couple missions in the story, and then I played a few hours of multiplayer. On its own, if I would have played this back in like April or something, I probably wouldn't have cared that much. But the fact that The Mandalorian just ended, it's definitely worth a play if you're a fan of, you know, ship combat games, dogfighting games, or you're a fan of Star Wars or The Mandalorian, because it was like perfect timing. Oh shit, Mandalorian, amazing finale. Jump back into Jedi Fallen Order, which I never thought I was gonna do, but it's like, you know what? New Game Plus, I'm gonna do it. I played an hour and I'm like, know what? Still kind of sucks, so I'm out. Jumped into this and it's pretty good. So that's my
I played
number
that
3.
game for like 2 or 3 hours in VR, and I think it's a good game for sure. It's a good game.
Don't
My only
play it in
problem,
VR. Don't play it in VR.
my my
It'll
only
make
problem
you
is that
motion sick.
when you are, I'm fine with that
Dude,
stuff.
I played that game in non-VR and it made me motion sick. I played for like 15 minutes. I felt like throwing up.
My only problem with it is, like, if you've ever played the Battlefront 1 VR demo,
Yep,
it just never reaches that same sort of feeling for me. And that's the only problem I have with it. And I guess because it's a bigger game, they probably couldn't do it.
yeah,
but
that demo was much more curated. Like, hey, this has to hit every single note in 20 minutes, so it's like everything you do is awesome, whereas this is supposed to be more just like, hey, you're just a pilot, you're gonna go places and be like, hey, you gotta scan that, hey, you're gonna listen to radio chat or stuff like that, which is cool. But yeah, I feel like they should do something. Well, they should make another one of these.
I'm gonna try it in non-VR and see how it plays out. But
they just need
I'm
to
like a huge fan of like the Series Ace combat, which is primarily dogfighting.
Yeah, be cool to
I
see
just
more of
haven't
this.
I just haven't had like the same experience with any other game compared to Ace Combat, which is a big problem for me. But it's a good game, yeah. I'm interested to go back to it. And like there's still like you said, there's still like giving you free stuff constantly.
Yeah, adding new ships and stuff, which is cool. Definitely not worth its own game. Like, it's a weird like spiritual successor to Star Wars Rogue Squadron, but the thing is, Star Wars Rogue Squadron and this and all these very niche games in this franchise no longer work because Battlefront exists, where you can do everything. You can be on the ground as rebels or clones or droids. You can be in space. You can take out capital ships. Making a game that's just one of those things doesn't really work when you have a game that already has everything included. It's just kind of bizarre where it's like, hey, you're only playing as, the Empire or the Republic. That's it. There's no clone battles. There's no droid ships, nothing like that. It's like 10% of Star Wars Battlefront 2 repackaged into its own game with a new story. It's good. What's there, it's good, but definitely not like...
I would have rather had like a Battlefront 3 with that campaign separately.
Oh, trust me, dude, we will. I guarantee you we're going to get a Battlefront 3 probably next year, dude.
I can't wait. It's
going to be great.
Especially because I know you now. Like, I've got a squad I can play that game with.
Dude,
like, if you just play by yourself, it's like...
Especially after everything they learned with Battlefront 2. When that game launched, I was like... The first game was disappointing, but Battlefront 2 was even worse because it had so much more potential and the game hardly worked, and they had everything locked behind microtransactions. Like, even like Darth Vader, you had to be like level 50 or you had to spend like $10 to unlock Darth Vader.
Jim Tasty, I had to do like some insane amount of kills with Darth Maul, get to like a certain point on the leaderboard, like, and I watched it all on stream, and you could see him counting down. I think it was maybe 5,000 kills. I don't know, but I could see the moment when he finally unlocked the skin, and it was like, yes. Like,
dude, some of the trophies were like that, where it's like you have to hit this level with every class, and it's like,
oh yeah, you platinum it this year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I did. It was a pain, but the game got really good probably a year and a half ago. But then when they put out the Celebration update last year, adding like all the new troopers, some of the new planets, stuff like that. But then they killed it. Like, that was it. And it's like, there's stuff from the first game you never ported over. Like, you gave us Scarif as a planet to play on, but no characters from Rogue One, even though you added those in the first game. Like
Kamino, though, that was fucking phenomenal.
Dude, Kamino was amazing in Battlefront 2. Like, yeah, that game became probably one of the best Star Wars games ever made. I hope they can keep it up, but it is EA, and well,
the best thing about Battlefront is the sound design. Full stop. It's just
dude. Oh my god, dude. 7.1. Fuck. You hear a ship fly over? Oh my god, dude. It's great.
My third game of the year. I'm not going to bore people with the details because I've done a whole patch notes episode on it.
Is it some anime shit? Is it some anime shit?
Surprise, motherfucker! It's anime time! Yay! No, it's
You're
Captain
so
Tsubasa.
predictable.
Captain Tsubasa Rise of the New Champions. It's basically an anime soccer game where you get to play through the events of the anime.
That was so forced. Like that.
Soccer.
It's called football, dude.
It's called football, yeah.
It's actually called soccer. Soccer
soccer.
originated in England, bitch.
Well, I'm
the
a
term
soccer
originated in England, bitch.
Yeah. Anyway,
don't fact check me on that. I don't actually know if that's true.
I'll but you get to play
yeah,
through,
shout out to Captain Tsubasa for copywriting my fucking video.
You took their fucking story trailer. You could have got any sort of gameplay, and you went, "Let me just get the full story trailer and just put it in this video."
It's a trailer. It's
a story trailer. It's a 7-minute long
footage they put out there for people to use. Whatever.
Oh god! Like you could have used anybody's gameplay, and you're like, "Let me just take the story trailer, the 7-minute story trailer, and just put it here." Oh fucking hell, Caesar! But yeah, watch patch notes. But you get to play through the events of the anime, but then you get to play through this like totally original story the creators made for you, where it includes your character. There's so much customization. The gameplay's really fun as long as you're not expecting FIFA or PES, because like this goes the opposite way, where it's more arcadey than realistic. The soundtrack's great, and what I
would have
didn't
never
really
expected an anime game to be realistic in the first place. So,
what I didn't really expect until Caesar brought it up was I watched the anime and I've played the game, and like they both look really authentic, but I didn't realize that they had actually made the 2D characters into 3D, and it just looks one for one. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks so authentic and genuine.
Like the Dragon's Dogma anime.
Yeah,
what a piece of shit that was.
It just looks so authentic. And I had so much fun with that game this year, and shout out to that game. Watch patch notes for more details.
Cool. Yeah, if you're a weeb like Camille, go check it out.
I'm not a weeb. I suggest you'd
just admit it.
You ranked anime openings 2 days in a row.
But I don't pretend that I'm Japanese, do I?
True. You're just a simp.
Yeah, I'm a simp.
Good thing we're not on Twitch. We'd be banned for that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Robin, what's your number 2 game? Please let it be anime.
Don't be anime. Be Dragon's Dogma. Please be Dragon's Dogma. Please.
There's no fucking way, dude. Sorry.
I swear to God, if it's Nier Automata, because you're like, I beat it a 5th time this year.
I'm there. I like the true ending.
I know. I'm only halfway there. Oh, good. I gotta get back to that game. Maybe in 5 years.
I'm fucking enjoying it. I've just got to a bit where I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't spare the 20 gigabytes it takes, even though the assets should only take up like 2 gigs because they look like shit.
My number 2.
Yeah.
Is Hades.
Ooh.
What? No. What the hell's number 1? What? I can't believe this. So Hades was the game that made you stop hating video games.
Yeah. After the fucking hate I had for games after Last of Us Part 2, this is what brought me back in. This is a near perfect game to me. The combat, the story, the characters, the music, the design of the game is just
the voice acting is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Like the way you get addicted to this game so easily, and the way you just think to yourself, just one more run to try and beat this game, and then you'll play for 5 more hours instead.
There's very few games like Rogue Legacy where you pick it up, you go through like it, and it's like procedurally generated and stuff like that. You get all these different powers and stuff like that, and you get addicted to it. There's very few games like that where you're like, they do it perfectly, but like you said, Hades is one of those games where like it just feels right. It just plays right, feels right. Yeah, and the characters and everything really well. Yeah, I really wish I put more time into it this year, but
you have time. It's so good.
I will do.
Yeah, it's great. And I've totally played it.
Everyone is different because they all have all the. I think there's 5 weapons, and then once you beat the game once, you unlock.
Of course. What did I expect? What did I expect?
You unlock a different version of each weapon that you can unlock, and then
that's cool.
You can change the game.
That's cool. It's kind of like Dragon's Dogma, where if you kill a dragon with your gear equipped, it becomes Dragon Forged, which dramatically increases its power.
And if you press +2 on the little charm.
So yeah, play Hades.
Yeah, I agree.
And play all Supergiant games. They're great.
Caesar, you're not going to tell me number 2 is Hades on your list.
I think I have like 2 or 3 Supergiant games, and I've never finished any of them.
Kumail, would it shock you if I told you that my number 2 game is actually no, it's Among Us.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Yeah. So I brought up Among Us earlier because that was Kumail's honorable mention. This is my number 2 game because it's just for all the stuff we brought up earlier. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun gaslighting your friends, as really
Nice.
douchey as that sounds.
One of my favorite moments this year is you being like, Kamel, I love you, and 10 minutes later you get me fucking
I killed you. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking.
It's just so
Oh,
much fun.
sucker.
It's that game is just so much fun. Even though it came out 2 years ago, it's really amazing how that game just kind of blew up out of nowhere this year.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's just a fun game to watch as well on YouTube. Like you just see
Oh,
some of
yeah.
your favorite content creators like play it, and it's just like, yeah, this is hilarious.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like
Uh,
time goes so fast when you're playing with your friends as well. Like next thing you know, it's like
Or
5 a.m.
really slow. Like you're really stressed out and you're just like, "Ah, it could be anybody, and nobody's doing anything. What's going on? What the fuck?
I think
So many awesome things about the game.
the only drawback of that game is you need to have a good group of friends. You need to know your group, and you need to know the people within that group to make it.
Or it could be make the game more interesting if you don't know the people in there. And they don't
Yeah.
know each other either. Or like it adds another element.
But you need
There's
to click.
so many different ways. Yeah, it helps, but it's just so many different elements to that game. Like you can play with brand new people, and it's probably more exciting because you don't know what their tells are. Or
There's
you
a
can
lot
play
of
with your
different
classic group of
options
friends,
as
and you
well.
could try to think of new ways to fuck with them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different like gameplay and strategy that goes into playing that game. It is just I can't wait for the new map to come out next month. But yeah,
Are you gonna be
Us
playing
my
your
second.
Switch or your PC?
The Switch port sucks, so I'll be playing it on my PC.
Oh. I didn't know this.
It's okay.
All Switch
Definitely
ports
check.
suck.
It's okay. It gets the job done. But like, yeah,
You know
it's
when
better on
Nintendo
PC.
can't optimize their own games on their console, you're fucked. You're like fucked. Gage, number 2.
I said I was going to bring it back, so this is where I bring it back. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's my number 2.
That's really surprising for the amount of shit you've talked this year.
I
thought you
know.
hated this game.
I wasn't expecting it, but I've been slowly going back and playing through it again on hard mode, trying to get that trophy. Fuck, it's not easy.
You've got to be really specific with some of those combos as well to beat some of those bosses.
Yeah, the fact that you can't use healing items, period, in or out of combat. Like you have to use magic, and then you can only replenish your magic at rest points. So it's a very, very challenging experience. But it's like I feel like the first time the reason I was talking so much shit, like all my complaints are still there. The fact that it is such a small game, like you could play through the story in maybe 12 hours, but there's another 8 hours of side quests there that the majority of them suck. There's a couple that are pretty cool.
Side quests are not that bad.
Dude.
Come on, give it a rest.
Nobody cares about these characters. It's like, I need you to go shopping for me. I need you to go pick this up. Go find my cats. Go do this. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, none of this matters. No, literally, this is all stuff.
Do you want to
added
see
in.
my waifu in VR and fight her?
Dude, literally,
Yes, I
it's
do.
Final
Yes.
Fantasy VII Remake, and they like added stuff in. It's like, why? It just felt like an afterthought where it's like, oh, we have to have side quests, and it's like, well, none of them are like inspiring. You know, a game like The Witcher 3 or even Final Fantasy 15 had side quests that felt almost like their entire stories. You go do those, and it's like, this is as engaging as the main story. Whereas I felt like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's generic looking characters that give you a fetch quest, and I'm like, well, I gotta go kill this boss, or I gotta go do this.
I can still understand from that.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're like, oh, these things are fucking trash, fuck this game. No, it's just like, why put those in? Why not put that effort towards something else, like an expanding area? It's like, hey, you can actually explore more here, or there's, I don't know, there's more they could have done there. A lot of visual issues where playing the game, it's like, these characters look amazing, oh my god, and then you start talking to a random NPC and it's like, you look like shit. Why is that light like only affecting one surface? Like everything is so static. The game is so flat. It doesn't feel.
I like how Gage is going to go to an interview, meet the boss, and like, oh, you look amazing and stuff like that. And then like he goes into the office and sees like some random guy that like some random resale worker. He's like, you look like shit.
You want to know? You want to know why the
What's wrong
first
with your
game?
face?
You want to know why the first game was so flat? Because it was made for a fucking Nintendo 64 and PS1, and they only made it for PS1 because the fucking licensing fell out. The reason Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 looks worse than 8 or 9 is because they were also targeting Nintendo 64 hardware. That's why the game looked that way. Final Fantasy games have come such a long way, and they did a lot of cool things with this game, but the fact that so much of it still looks so static and flat, it's like there's nothing living about this game, where NPCs kind of stand around and they have 2 lines of dialogue, and every time you walk away and walk back, they'll say the same line of dialogue. They will repeat that line of dialogue.
And when you do a side quest, they change the dialogue
to another line that they then repeat.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no, the game doesn't really feel alive. Like I feel like I'm in this giant city, but there's nothing going on. Like the main characters are the only characters that actually seem like real characters. Everything else is set dressing, kind of like, bringing it around, kind of like Cyberpunk. The NPCs in that game, they kind of suck. Like they're just kind of there. Like they don't really do anything. You can't really interact with most of these people. They don't have behaviors. They literally spawn in and walk and then spawn out when you look away. That's how this game felt. It's just very bizarre. The fact that these pre-rendered backgrounds, it was just like, why? Seems like you could easily make this at least somewhat 3D to give it depth, but it's like, I want to look at the center pillar, but it's an image. It doesn't. I don't get the proper sense of scale.
I remember this when you first came across it.
And then
you went off on a whole
and like when you're up above the slums after the plate falls. Spoilers for a 25-year-old game, 23-year-old game, by the way. For the first,
you said spoilers.
The plate comes down and you look at it, and it's like you have to look down, but everything around you is a pre-rendered background, so the perspective is off, where it's like I'm looking diagonally down, but it's like warping the image because it's up on a sphere. It's just so many weird things like that. But those characters and that story are so freaking good that I don't even give a shit. Oh my god, even replaying it again, like the first time you meet Aerith and her theme kicks in, or you go to the freaking, you go to 7th Heaven and you hear Tifa's theme on the jukebox. I'm like, this game is so...
I love the jukebox in this game where you random like fucking iterations of songs.
Disappointed. I love those, but I'm disappointed because Final Fantasy 15 had like, you could go find soundtracks and listen to all these, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, 7, 8 in your car. This game, it's like, oh, there's a select few songs from 7 that are remade, and it's like, come on, let me listen to the original stuff too. Come on. But
the original
but like, dude, every time Sephiroth shows up, all these other characters you get to meet, and without getting into spoilers, the last boss fight, like the very, very last encounter, took me off guard and blew my mind. And I am so excited. Dude, I can't even fathom the thought of being able to finally meet Vincent or Sid or something in the remake universe, dude. Holy crap. Dude, being able to like... I'm not going to mention this thing, but another character shows up for a split second in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Dude, when you actually get to talk to them in the next game, dude, I can't wait for that.
You didn't realize at the end, did you? That's what they were doing. Like, hang on a minute.
The ending was weird because it doesn't make sense. It's like they tried to do one thing, but again, I'm not going to get too into spoilers. It felt like they didn't make a decision at the end where it's like, hey, we're changing everything. It's like, well, in this regard, sure, you changed everything, but there's still this that's the exact same as what we know. So you have to literally rewrite the entire story from the ground up, which means Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children all now need to be retconned, which sucks because those are so good. So I
think that's sort of the point of the whole story.
But like, I don't understand why, because I don't think anybody wanted that. Everybody wanted to be able to play Final Fantasy VII, but modern day. But they're like, oh, we're going to change everything. But then at the end, they kind of didn't. Like, again, I'm not going to get too spoilery, but I'm very excited for the future of... I'm assuming trilogy. I'm assuming they're going to do 3 total.
What's going to work in Part 2's favor is the fact that now you haven't got an expectation for what this next thing is going to be. You have no idea what it's going to be. So you can play it for what it is rather than what you wanted it to be.
I guess, but I also have predictions for what they're going to do, and
See, but then you're going to mar it because of yourself.
Not necessarily. I have various predictions of what they're going to do, but like, they all seem great, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want any of that to happen. I literally just want to play the game. I want to play the original game. I want to go, go to Barrett's hometown and deal with all that stuff. I want to go meet Vincent and Sid. I want to infiltrate this, Shinra port. I want to do all these things. I want to go to the Golden Saucer and meet all these characters. And I'm worried they're going to twist everything up and it's no longer going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. It's going to be a totally different story. And that's what kind of scares me about the future of this trilogy or whatever. But at the same time, I'll still play it. I'll still play the shit out of it because, dude, Final Fantasy VII is great. It's great.
Is the story really that different from the original?
I really don't want to go down this path.
Without getting into spoilers, the ending, yes. The ending of this game is very different. There's things throughout the game that are very different, a lot of weird changes. For the most part, the game plays out pretty similarly to the Midgar section. But then, yeah, they end it and they kind of just turn everything on its head. And it's like, okay, like, it's kind of cool, but at the same time,
I remember
why?
they had to make it one part of the game specifically. So there's inherently going to be some changes.
Should I don't know. Should we say spoiler warning and bring it up?
No, no. We're good. We can make another podcast for that.
Will you edit it and put in a spoiler warning?
I won't. I'll just say skip ahead 1 minute if you don't want to hear this. Okay.
All right.
We're at 1 minute 16. Skip to 1 minute.
See if you can mute it.
Skip to 1 minute 17. If you haven't played it, mute now. You have less than a minute. Okay, so
we have not been recording for 1 minute and 16 seconds.
Hour. One. Okay, we have 45 seconds. Okay. Spoiler. Zack is dead. Like, he dies in Final Fantasy VII, and the whole Crisis Core is his story and him dying at the end. But at the end of this game, he survives.
Zack is the guy that shows up.
Black hair that carries Cloud at the very end. Yeah, he's supposed to be dead. So basically what they did is they created a time split. So the game ends, everybody leaves Midgar, and what they're doing is exactly what happens in the original Final Fantasy, but now there's like another alternate timeline where Zack survives. So now we have to deal with that, and I have no idea what's going to happen. That's the part that kind of worries me. Okay, we have 12 seconds. Right. Speak your piece.
Spoilers. Okay,
we're done.
No, we still got 6 seconds. Make sure people know. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you remember that one time that? No, I'm kidding. I just go to another spoiler.
Dude, when Kirby showed up, I lost my shit.
The ending of this game is actually Sephiroth teleporting to Smash. He's like, I'm done here, and then he just disappears.
I can't believe Tifa dumps you. It's crazy.
Fuck that minigame.
Huh?
In the gym.
Oh yeah, fuck the minigames.
Fuck that minigame.
Like the fucking cycle where you have to like if you want to get Jesse, you can't like fuck up. It's like, oh man.
Hey, my internet payment went through, so we're good. Hey. Thank goodness.
Right, man.
My second game of the year goes to Tsushima.
Oh, dude.
And like at one point it was nearly my game of the year. But like from the very start, like, I was like totally blind on it because I didn't watch like the state of play and stuff like that. But first of all, the setting of the game is just an interesting setting. I've seen it done once before in an anime. I was wondering how it goes to Tsushima done it, and I really like the way they tackled it. It was really cool.
Sweet.
But I played it in Japanese.
Of course you did.
The voice actor. Oh, why wouldn't I play it in Japanese?
Oh, I thought you were in a weeb, huh? At least I don't think I'm Japanese. But you're gonna play a game in Japanese? I'm kidding. That's totally justified. It's like a Kurosawa film. I'm just talking shit.
Why wouldn't you play the voice actor?
Because I hate subtitles, dude. I hate subtitles so much.
See, I grew up watching movies.
If I'm watching a show, if I'm watching something, I want to watch it. I don't want to read it, or else I read a book.
Yeah, it's a fair complaint. It's a fair complaint. But it's like for me, it's like I can read the subtitles. And
I just have to be right about everything. That's just how it is.
Like,
how's the lip syncing? I heard it's bad for the Japanese.
it was kind of bad, but like to the effect, but it didn't make a big difference to me. To be fair, it's like that's very minor in the grand scheme of things. But the voice actor straight away, I recognized who he was because he plays a samurai in another like show I watch, and I was fucking hyped. Yeah, an anime. Yeah, I was fucking hyped. They got the voice casting nailed fucking down in this game, and like again, I think Robin, you've nailed it. But like the world itself is gorgeous. I think the characters are fucking great. The side stories are interesting, so Gage will probably like that. And it's a game that you want to explore rather than you having to explore, which makes all the difference. What else about it? What else about it? the character, the main character Jin Sakai, you can relate to his struggle. They really do a really good job of like you being in his shoes and seeing his struggle compared to what he's grown up knowing and what he has to become in order to save Tsushima. So yeah, no, it's just the music as well. Some of the jewels in this game where you have one-on-one fight, fucking fantastic. It's just I want more of that game. I couldn't put that game down. It's like I was still working, but I would like as soon as I finish work, I'm playing this game for 8 hours because I just want to play more of this game. And I couldn't believe how much it sucked me in. It's just a phenomenal game.
It did what?
It sucked me in. If it could do the other thing and suck me off, it would have been even higher on my list.
Dude, that can't show.
Oh man,
I
would
would
game.
It's been too long since we've done a show, so everything is just kind of building up, and I'm just going all out today.
Pretty much.
I like Ghost of Tsushima. I'm kidding, dude. I want to play it so bad.
4 months later or so, they give you a free multiplayer, which is fucking phenomenal,
dude. That's awesome.
So Gage, you'll be happy to hear this. I had to play it in English because I can't play that multiplayer and like look at subtitles at the same time. It's just impossible. So
cool.
No, that multiplayer was fantastic as well, and the fact it was for free. Just
shout out to the photo mode as well. It's really good.
Photo mode in anything is good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Especially Cyberpunk, because like it's the only thing that works. Actually, no, it doesn't. You know why? Because here's another fun thing. So they put out, before I stopped playing, they had put out 3 patches. So the day 1 patch, and then I think 2 hotfixes. Yet, even after the final hotfix, whenever I look into a mirror or go into photo mode, my dude doesn't have facial hair, even though my dude has facial hair. Why does it just disappear? Like, why? Everything else is there, but I go into photo mode and it's like, dude, the character creator in that game is so bad. I had to have at least some stubble to make my guy look somewhat decent. And I go into photo mode and it's like, I don't want to take a photo because he looks like a baby got injected with some growth hormones and like got the body all stretched out. Like, it just looks so bad with that. I'm like, how is everything else there? I've got the hair, I've got the clothes, but literally this is it doesn't
I've
make
got a simply
sense.
sassy show idea. Gage hates your favorite game, or why your game is shit. Yeah, just like
why your game is bad. Yeah.
Didn't we talk about that a while ago?
Yeah, we talked about that like months ago, having a segment or a show where I just talk shit, and I'm so down to
why
do that.
Your favorite game is bad.
Your favorite video game sucks. That's a good show.
Dude, the whole first episode's gonna be about like all the Naughty Dog games and why I think they're good for one playthrough.
Featuring fucking Robin GL. God of War episode.
Everything I do on this channel is slowly gonna push Robin away, and it's very sad.
Well, he's starting to have the same sort of shit opinions you have, surprisingly. Like the audacious shit he's been putting on his timeline recently. He's just
God of War 2018 is very overrated.
Fuck you.
Overrated.
Fuck you.
Go to Tsushima's combat.
Honestly, I do have to say, God of War. Okay, story. I still think God of War is my favorite game of all time, and gameplay. The first time I played it, amazing. Trying to do New Game Plus, I just can't do it. It's on the same level as Naughty Dog for me, where the gameplay was great the first time. I'm like, this is amazing. But I've done it, and it can't bring me back for part 2, which sucks. I mean, New Game Plus. I'm in for God of War 2, but like, dude, story still amazing. Best story ever made in the game. But yeah, gameplay, it just can't.
Best story ever made in a game.
Yeah.
Oh no,
God of War 2018, best story. Best story ever.
Pokemon Silver.
What's better? What's better, huh?
I'll save it for the show.
Oh, also, okay. Let's go to number ones, people. Where we at?
Before we do that, Camille.
Okay.
You want to do some community ones?
Okay, I'll go through the top 5
do you want to alternate?
Okay, I'll do Alec Bobko first, because Alec Bobko's got phenomenal video games. I found out on his streams. Now part of Waypoint, but Alec Bobko. Persona 5 Royal, number 1. The Last of Us Part 2.
Gee, I wonder why you think he has great taste.
Look, if you go watch like his top 50 video games of all time, you understand why he's got good taste in video games. We're quite similar actually in our tastes. But yeah, Last of Us Part 2, number 2, Hades at number 3, Final Fantasy 7 at number 4, and Fall Guys at number 5.
Awesome. Jesse, friend of the show. Well, not this show, but one of our shows.
The other show, the show people like.
Yeah. Her top 5 is number 5, Return of Obra Dinn. Number 4, Among Us. Number 3, Raft. Number 2, Outer Wilds, and number 1 is Animal Crossing: New Horizons.
What? Animal Crossing.
Nice.
I want to see the art she makes in Animal Crossing now.
Oh yeah.
Vitz Patel, Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Bugsnax at number 5.
Nice.
Interesting.
Nice. Simply Assassin member Phil J. Woodward, who couldn't be here today, send him some love on Twitter.
Yeah,
he needs it. Number 5, Warzone. Number 4, Demon's Souls. Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 2, Resident Evil 3, and number 1, Hades.
Nice.
He played that early access as well, so he must have really fucking loved Hades.
Oh yeah.
Talking of loving Hades, Mark hasn't got this on the list. Mark Kaiser, he's got Ghost of Tsushima at number 1, Last of Us Part 2 at number 2, The Pathless at number 3, Animal Crossing at number 4, and Crash 4. It's about time. It's about time it's featured on someone's list. Number 5.
Gage brought it up.
Yeah.
I know. I thought of it after I tried to make that funny pun. Sorry.
How long were you
sweet.
holding on to that
Awesome.
pun and you're just like, I gotta say it?
It's off the cuff. I've got that ability, Steve.
You can't really use it as a pun though, because the title itself is a pun. Because
It's a pun, yeah.
it's about time they made the game, but the
can't use that
game's
as a double
also about time.
You can use it as a double pun in a sentence. I just did it. You've seen it. You've witnessed it. You didn't like it, but you witnessed it.
I didn't like it because it wasn't good.
Can you shut Gage up, Robin, and tell me someone else's game of the year, please?
Fellow Swede, Krista Lindemark.
likes
Number
PewDiePie?
5, Last of
What?
Us Part... No. Number 5, Last of Us Part 2. Number 4, Neo 2. Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 2, Persona 5 Royal. And number 1, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Nice.
See, I can't wait for the PS5 version of Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Dude.
I'm so in for that. I can't wait. Oh, dude.
The PS4 version is on sale, everyone. Go buy it, and you can get a free upgrade on
Is it
PS5.
confirmed free upgrade?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure.
All right,
Never-
I'll have to double check because I already can't wait. For
Never played a Yakuza.
Me
This is
neither.
like turn-based Yakuza. It's like Persona 5, the Yakuza.
Never played Persona.
You can like have a convenience store employee join your party. It's fucking awesome. And she, like,
Never played a
it's fucking
game.
Never played a game.
in that sense, but spiteful rage. Oh, it's not spiteful rage. Sightful rage at Ringboy Mason. Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spiritfarer at number 3, if you remember that game. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Bugsnax at number 5.
Very cool.
The final boss fight at Final Boss Fight 0. Just post a gif of Elder looking sad. So I guess it's Game of the Year is Last of Us Part 2.
Jasic, friend of the show. Hades at number 1, Ghost at number 2, The Last of Us Part 2 at number 3, RE3 at number 4. I think he's done this on purpose. And Final Fantasy 7 at number 5. So many numbers.
I think that's everyone.
We have Chauncey at Predit_Noir. Last of Us Part 2 at number 1. Ghost of Tsushima at number 2. Hades number 3. Escape from Tarkov at number 4, which I don't know. I've heard of it. I don't know what it is. And
Dude,
Miles Morales at number
I haven't
5.
played it myself, but dude, that game looks awesome. I had a friend from Best Buy that used to play it all the time, and he would always like, "Dude, you gotta get Tarkov. You gotta get Tarkov." I'm like, "Cool," and then I never did.
Did you do Mikkel and Halvorsen?
I haven't done Mikkel. Mikkel, you can do.
Yeah, he has posted 2. Number 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Hades at number 1. Give
And I
a
guess
shout out to Warzone.
Shout out to Please Be Excited, whose game of the year was Warzone.
Yeah. Until they disappeared.
Nobody's seen him since.
Please be excited for his return.
Robin, number 1.
Astro's Playroom.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No
You said that would
way.
be surprised, but
That's
like,
That's
a bold
awesome.
number 1.
That
That's
is
a bold
number
awesome,
one.
dude.
I can see why.
It's so good. And
I'm so
just
excited to play it.
plugging in your PlayStation 5 and that being pre-installed and you can play in the get-go, and it's so good, and it sets up the expectations. Like, I can't wait to see where they go with DualSense controller and all of the features it has.
The way that just spoon feeds you nostalgia and makes you want to get everything is phenomenal.
My favorite thing is all the nostalgia, yet no backward compatibility still. It's amazing. Like, check it out, guys. Here's a PS2. Why? I'm like, that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't play anything. Like, no, but the way you can interact with stuff as well, there's like a little gacha system where you can get like parts of a mural, which is
All
really
the
cool.
Easter eggs are really cool.
Yeah.
And the music is great as well.
So excited.
Some of them.
The music's awesome, yeah.
SSD.
Astro's Playroom is what I wanted them to do for the PS4, so I'm glad they finally did it for the PS5.
Yeah, well, we got the VR game, didn't we?
Yeah,
but like it
Mission.
wasn't already in the PS4, like, you know.
True.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like as a starting off point for experience system. It does phenomenally well with the DualSense controller as well.
Yeah, this game did a perfect job of setting up, like, getting excited for the generation we had out of this.
Yeah,
nice,
absolutely. Can you imagine what Ratchet and Clank is
going
to do with the DualSense?
Sorry, what?
Can you imagine what Ratchet and Clank's going to do with the DualSense, like the Sheepinator and like the Groovitron, like that?
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to play Grand Theft Auto 5 with a DualSense. Dude, being able to drive down the road, feel the actual like, you know,
the bumps and stuff.
Yeah, hit all the bumps and everything, going off road, being able to shoot the guns, fly the dude. Just
I can't wait to like your DPD driver is not going to like deliver your package because there's a bit of snow in.
Dude, I don't care if we're recording on that day. Like for that, I'm out. If I get a call on that day and it's like, hey, we got a package for you, but we can't make it to your house. Like, this show's ending. Y'all are done. I'm out. I'm getting a PlayStation. Like,
why are you running? And you just run after the fucking truck. Like, give me back the PlayStation. Caesar, what is number 2? Oh, number 1, sorry.
Number 1.
Number 2 is Among Us. Number 1 is a small little indie game. Probably never heard of it before. It's called Animal Crossing New Horizons. That is my number 1 game of the year. That game brought together not even gameplay aside. Like gameplay, it's fun. It's a fun game. That game just brought in so many people together in a time where we needed it. That game hit at the perfect time. Like the week lockdown started, later that week, Animal Crossing came out.
Yeah.
That game sold consoles unlike I've ever seen another game do.
Like it's just sold phenomenally. Like
it sold phenomenally. People that have never given a shit about Animal Crossing before bought this game and they loved it. Like this game just broke records for Nintendo and brought people together in a time where we needed it most, that I just couldn't ignore it. Like the cultural impact and the fun I had playing this game too. Like this game was I sunk in like 600 hours into it.
Man, me being awake at like 6 a.m.
600 hours.
Yeah, dude, I got lost in this fucking game.
Like, you can wake up at like 6 a.m. and be like, okay, how much are my turnips selling for? Like going like scrambling to find out. Yeah. Oh man.
Like there's like communities for certain things like turnips or what's in your item shops or stuff like that. There's so much different like interactivity with people that like it just came out at the right time.
I think credit to the game as well is that content is constantly dropping. There's always events going on, keeping you engaged. And I'm so pissed I still didn't get all the cherry blossom recipes. I was really looking forward to those, but never mind.
The game came out at the right time, but also at the worst time because it was during the Easter update, and everybody fucking hated that because the Easter eggs were ugly as shit.
Yeah. And now we've got the shifty fucking art dealer.
Oh yeah, Red. Yeah.
Fucking.
But yeah, they're always adding new stuff to make that game feel fresh and new.
And it's one of those games where you can just pick up at any point and put an hour into and put it back down again if you want to. It's to its credit, it's so enjoyable.
It's my number 1 game of 2020.
I have to, I couldn't say anything. Like it, if people had that number 1, I couldn't argue with it. It's deserved.
Ironic because I brought that up like at the beginning of the show and y'all talk shit. So fuck you.
Gage, what's your number 1?
Shit.
You didn't, Caesar. These two fucks did. My number 1 is the first time I've ever thought a game of this franchise would be considered a Game of the Year contender.
Oh,
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, I did not see this coming.
What?
No one's really talked about it in that capacity.
I was excited for this game because I like the direction they've been taking Assassin's Creed. It's what I've always wanted them to do. I started with the first game when it first came out, and it was incredible. until I got pulled out, and it's like, hey, your name's Desmond Miles, blah 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 blah. You're in the Animus. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? This is what they showed me. I'm supposed to be an assassin running around killing Templars. Over time, the story did get engaging, and I did like that part. But I was always like, I just put me in a time period. Let me do stuff in that time period. So playing, 2, getting introduced to Ezio, then playing through Brotherhood, 3 in the American Revolution, Black Flag, being a pirate. All those things were so cool, but they were still very, very kind of locked in that initial Assassin's Creed gameplay loop, where they would slowly kind of evolve it, but you're still like, hey, you're sneaking around assassinating people, the combat feels the same, you're looting stuff, like everything felt very samey and very kind of action adventure, yet in like a RPG backdrop. It felt like kind of a weird mix of gameplay types. They got progressively worse, especially with the Animus. Like, I loved Black Flag, but the fact that it's like a slow moving first person modern day section where it's like I'm playing some no-name character in like this stupid Abstergo game studio, walking around we've got a bug in level 2, we have to fix it. I'm like, I don't care, I'm supposed to be a pirate. So like, that's, dude, the Desmond Miles stuff I eventually liked, but when I got to that point, I'm like, this is stupid, don't do this Animus bullcrap. And they continue to do it. Then they put out Unity, ugh, and then Syndicate, and then Origins. Eventually played that. I'm like, this is kind of neat. Like, I've never been a big fan of like the ancient Egypt environment. Yeah. It was cool. I liked the characters. I'm like, sure, call me racist, but also fuck Ubisoft. Like, you were supposed to play as the wife and not the husband, but they're misogynistic bullshit. That could have been a much more interesting game. And then Odyssey came out and it was like, oh, again, Greek mythology, cool, but still not really my thing. But I still loved it. I'm like, this is more what I want. I want to be able to upgrade my character, find stuff, change the look of my character, like make my character better throughout the game on top of me actually getting better at the game. And then Valhalla was straight up like, hey, it's an RPG and it's in like a great setting. You go to England, you start in Norway and then you go to England, and like, that's awesome. And you have this big map and you get to meet all these interesting.
Surprisingly,
dude,
I got it
so good. It's got some issues, but for the most part, like, the characters are some of the best characters that have been in an Assassin's Creed game, at least in like the past like few iterations. Like, I know there's gonna be a lot of fans out there like, Ezio's the best, and it's like, Ezio is cool, yes, overrated, but he's cool. I like Ezio, but he's very overrated. I don't know why people are all up on his dick all the time, but he's good. But I kind of really like Eivor. I think Eivor is a great character. And this game surprisingly swaps what Odyssey did. And Odyssey, I played as Alexios, but wow, performance, not that great. Whereas Cassandra was fantastic. This game, female Eivor, not that great. Her performance is not convincing, but male Eivor, whoever that guy is, I should know his name. I've seen it before.
It's Ryan. Surprise!
No. He's incredible. Like, the acting and the writing in this game, I never expected to come out of an Assassin's Creed game. Like, the facial animations, the fact that even something as so subtle as like the way they design the characters' eyes, they look real. They don't like these weird, like, dead eyes you see in other games like Fallout. Like, you can see, I don't know, it's weird to explain, but when you play, it's like they look like real people. Like, they look everything from like the furrowing of the brow, the raising of an eyebrow, all these things. The facial animation is incredible. It makes me believe these characters. Plus, big open world, amazing RPG mechanics, and all this stuff. There's issues. There's not a lot of stuff to do. Like, you can find a few select armor sets, and that's it. A few weapons, that's it. There's not a wide variety of things to do, but just this massive, gorgeous open world, amazing characters. I was like blown away at how amazing this game is. So
the voice actor's name is Magnus Brunn.
Yes,
and he actually looks like a real life Viking
Where's
as
he
well.
from?
I have no idea. Danish. He's Danish.
Oh no.
Don't worry, Robin. You still have PewDiePie.
It comes to no one's surprise that my game of the year is Persona 5 Royal. I'm not going to bore people with the details because, again, you can watch patch notes where I talked Caesar's ear off for 40 minutes when he was trying to stop me. I wasn't picking up the signals. It just took a
He's
game.
literally saying, Kamal, stop. Kamal, stop. And you're just like, ha ha ha. Let me tell you about this, day 57. It's great.
I wasn't trying to stop you. I was trying to ask you questions, and you just kept going on and on about the fucking game. I was just like,
It's the
about
first
that thing
time
you
I've been
mentioned
able to
30
talk about
minutes
it with
ago.
someone. Like literally, it's they just took a game that was good and then just made it even better. They've some characters have been reworked. There's extra content for characters you love. The pacing of the game is better. The gameplay's been improved. The palaces are quicker because they're streamlined. It's just, I can't really talk about the best part of the game because it's all spoilers. But yeah, it just blew my mind how much better they made it, and I didn't think they could. So yeah, that's my game of the year, Persona 5 Royal.
Is it your game of the year or your DLC of the year?
It's not DLC. That's the thing. It's not DLC.
I'm joking, dude.
It's not DLC.
No, it's very much a Dragon's Dogma thing. Like Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is a separate game. It's not just DLC. So I feel you, Camille. We're on the same.
Is it
wavelength.
really?
Yep.
Wait, have I been playing the wrong game then?
Yep. Dark Arisen's the only version you can get now. The original version is only on PS3 and Xbox 360.
Well, listen,
They literally made Dark Arisen and then bundled it in together. It's Persona 5 Royale basically. It's literally the original game with just a massive heap of extra stuff added on top that they repackaged as a single game.
And you still give Camille shit.
I have to. Course. He's a bitch.
What?
That's the one time I go too far and Camille leaves.
Agrees. Yeah. My 13-year-old sister agrees Camille's a bitch.
Oh, Camille roasted.
By a child.
Am I going to slag off a 13
by two children, realistically.
Podcast? Am I going to do that? Come on, guys.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't wait to get to Persona 5 Royal. I just have to finish Ghosts first and then I'll...
Did you play the original, Robin?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll play Persona 5 Royale after I finish Nier 7 times, right, Robin?
Robin, too calm.
His head's gonna explode.
You beat the game once, right? There are 3 different acts. Act 1 has 1 ending. Act 2 has 1 ending. Act 3 has 3 endings. All right, I'll give you that. You have to play Act 3 3 times.
You didn't tell me this. What?
But you can easily do a save and then go back to that and get the 3 endings.
You better fucking save when I get to that third route.
But dude, yeah, the game deletes your save also if you get the 2 ending.
Cool.
Do all the side quests before that.
Would you recommend
That's so fucking stupid.
Trophies from the shop, or do I just do them naturally? What? Do I buy the trophies from the shop, or do I do them naturally?
I just buy them. That's what I did.
Fair enough. Okay.
And I still don't have platinum.
Yeah.
Fake fan.
I still remember, kind of funny, when Colin had found out, like, I had to play the game 3 times. He lost his fucking shit.
Yep.
He was like, you fucking what? But yeah, that's been Game of the Year talk. Do you think next year's gonna be a better year in gaming?
Don't lie to the people. This wasn't Game of the Year talk. This was just a fucking shit show.
Grievances.
Game of the Year. No, it wasn't. This was just everybody like, oh, fuck this game. Oh, this game's good. No, it's not. Just kidding. It was just me doing all that. But yeah, whatever.
So yeah, is next year gonna be a better year in games? What do you think?
Fuck no, dude.
What's coming out next year?
Horizon, Ratchet and Clank.
Bullshit. Until I get a hard date that's 2 months out, I don't believe God of War. I don't believe Horizon. I don't believe those games are coming out.
God of War is making it. There's no way.
I don't think either of them are.
Horizon Forbidden West.
They've both said 2021, and I doubt it.
Coming out by April.
Oh yeah, that's easy.
No way. No.
Ratchet and Clank will be out by April.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because it's Just kidding. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait, dude.
Oh, dude, we're about to have fisticuffs.
Horizon for fall next year. That's what I'm thinking.
I hope so. I hope it does.
Yeah.
Still.
And hopefully that game isn't marred by the PlayStation 4.
Every year is gonna suck until we get Elder Scrolls 6 and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And GTA 6. And
I thought you said Persona 6. Oh, my bad.
Nobody cares about Persona.
Are we getting that new Atlas game next year, Camille?
I don't know. I don't think so. They're going to reveal more about it next year, though. Yeah, that's why I think it's probably going to be better than Persona 6 as well, Robin, because it's got all the people that worked on
Actually,
Persona 5.
I don't even care about games next year. All I care about is like
getting a PlayStation 5.
Well, yeah, dude. E3 though, like that's what I miss. Like, yeah, we got games this year, but this year sucked because it's like.
Do you think we'll get the E3 next year?
God, I hope so. I doubt it because we're still going to be in the middle of COVID.
Most people will be vaccinated, fingers crossed, by September. So.
Yeah, by September. That's just ridiculous. But, dude, E3 2027, when they finally come back, ooh, it's going to be great.
When it finally dies and Sony's like, we don't need you anymore. Microsoft is like, we haven't to announce because we're still working on Halo Infinite. And
oh, yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, yeah, Halo Infinite next year. There you go.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Caesar, are you looking forward to next year at all?
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen next year, so that's exciting.
Breath of the Wild 2?
Huh?
Breath of the Wild 2?
I don't know. I hope it happens. I don't know if it's gonna happen next year, if we're being honest. Even though next year is the Zelda anniversary.
I just hope they have
I don't know.
They're gonna release it and be like, "Hey, you get to play it until March 31st next year."
Yeah. You can play the first 30 minutes of the demo, and then you have to pay another £60. What else is coming out?
That's a good way to do a demo, though. It's like have a meaty demo that play the game. I don't know.
Early access, that's called. I think probably, maybe. Bravely Default 2 coming out next year. I guess. No. New Pokemon game potentially, because it's 25th anniversary.
True.
Like what? Are they gonna add 3 more Pokemon? And be like, hey, look, it's a new game, and then sell 2 different copies. Like you have to have 2 copies or a friend with the other one if you want to complete your Pokedex because you're missing one Pokemon.
Have you heard of the internet before? Because you might be able to use that to get other Pokemon. I'm just putting it out there.
Dude, I don't play games to have to go on the internet to connect with
other
people just to complete it. Bro, if I'm gonna buy your game, you put your shit in the game. Don't be like, you have to have a friend or the internet to get this one Pokemon. You have to get this one shiny variant of 3rd generation Pikachu that killed a Cubone and is now wearing its skull. Like, no, just put it in the game. Like, let me just get it. Don't like, oh God. Imagine playing Skyrim and it's like, hey, if you want to get this Daedric helmet, you actually have to have a friend that has Oblivion, and you have to trade with them. That would be stupid. They're totally unrelated examples. I'm just talking shit, bro.
Yeah, you're just talking.
I'm talking mad shit. Like I said, dude, it's been too long since we've recorded something, so I've just been penting up all of this just bullshit. I have to let it out.
Well, if people don't want to hear bullshit, Caesar, where can they find you?
You can find me at don't want to hear bullshit. All I say is bullshit. You can find me at twitter.com/Caesar Towers, twitch.tv/Caesar Towers, or look up patch notes on your podcast services. And right now I'm uploading Game of the Year discussions I had with the community. Like Camille said, I did an in-depth discussion with him on his Games of the Year. Recently uploaded Reaper's Pass. I'm uploading Greasy Boys episode right now, and more to come. So yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
And Robin, where can people stalk you?
At PewDiePie?
On Twitter. Yeah. Fuck. You can find me on Twitter at the RobinGL.
I've been Kamail. You can find me at Kamail H.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
I do the Poke Ramble podcast, which you can find on podcast services around the globe, just not iTunes for some fucking reason. They just don't want my shit. So Spotify, YouTube.
Nobody wants your shit, Camille.
Yeah, I stream on Twitch as well, I guess. But you can find me at simplysassyvids.com as well. Yeah. Shout out to Al, who was going to be on this episode, but decided that he wanted to give Phil the chance to be on this episode. So he's at theoupod.com as well. And yeah, shout out to Ben, who one day will return, but till that day comes, we don't know where he is. So if you see him, just say hello from me. And Gage, you want to take us out, buddy?
I'll gladly take you out anytime, Camille.
I'm not used to this. I'm scared.
That can be taken one of 2 ways.
I'm
not going to go any further with that joke because it's going to get really bad. Okay. Bye.
Johnny
I'm
Ace
kidding.
episode. Johnny Ace episode, motherfucker.
We got some cool things coming.
Couple days away. We're finally doing our Johnny Ace episode. It's gonna be fantastic. I heard some weird rumblings that like there's gonna be more than one. I don't know why. Like,
I heard something about a game show.
yeah, I don't know. We're gonna play it by ear. We have no idea what's going on. Johnny Ace is basically running the whole thing. We haven't been involved with planning anything like that. He's literally just gonna show up. Like, he has my address. He's coming to my house, and he's going to literally run the stream, and I don't know what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be very bizarre. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but yeah, January 2nd, which is 2 days away, because it's December 31st right now. It's literally the end of 2020. What?
What time are we doing it? Is it 1 p.m.?
Yeah, it's 1 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, 1 p.m. on our Discord
It's
channel,
gonna be
Camille.
endless.
Let's go over all of our information about our podcast scheduling on the fucking show.
Kumail, you should probably check your mailbox.
Fuck.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say.
it's-
See you in
it's-
2021.
Oh yeah. Yeah, check your mailboxes, people. Cool.
gonna
All
be
right, I'm ready to go have my dinner now, Gage. So,
okay. It's gonna be great, everybody. Stick around for that.
take this off.
Thank you for watching our 2020 game of the year. Not even just a random game of the year, because most of the games we talked about didn't even come out in 2020. So yeah,
Remember
thank
to
you.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Sure, please do that. Please,
You want me to be PewDiePie, so here I am.
please.
What was that? Whatever the fuck it does.
Oh my god, dude! If we ever do like a Patreon or a fundraiser, that's gonna be a goal, to have Robin do like a whole podcast in character as
Oh
PewDiePie.
yes, please. Oh, I'd hate to see that.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in a couple days. Hold on, I gotta go to the. There we go. There we go.